Khaki Packer, or you can also call him Speedo Steve.
Speedo Steve. There's a blast from the past. Yeah, Michelle, before the show, we were just talking, and we were talking in this normal voice, and then all of a sudden she went, well, hey, Steve. And she turned on this little radio voice. What are we doing today on the podcast?
Hello, Steve.
It's like you have two personalities there.
Exactly. Hey, I wanted to, before we go into our guest, I wanted to let you know that we had picked a winner last week for our
the Deep Eddy Vodka Espresso Martini Kit, which we valued at $500 billion.
$500 billion. The value goes up, and we had a bunch of other goodies in there. We picked Brad Thomas. Brad was out of town and so graciously allowed us to pick another name.
And we did.
And we picked Laura Villarreal. And I have a picture of her receiving it, and it's great. She
put on the six-pack ab thing. That was funny.
Yes. So congratulations, Laura. Thank you so much for listening to us. We really appreciate all of our listeners.
Enjoy that Deep Eddy Vodka Martini Kit. I'm sure
it's delicious.
You will.
We'll
post a picture later.
I was there Saturday after Christmas on Mercer, and I asked them, I said, are you guys going to bring this back? Because they it just said pause due to poor connectivity. It's so, you probably cannot hear us now anymore.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I'm wondering if I just unplug the microphone and just see if it worked.
You just turn them off.
Just turn them off.
Yeah.
So sorry. This is all on Instagram. If you're listening to us, you can't. Yep. And they just said added no more audio.
Okay.
Is what it said.
Did you turn that one off? Okay. Sorry, folks that are regular podcasters.
But what I was asking Deep Eddy if they were going to bring it back, and they said they have just enough for the tasting room, but they don't have enough right now to sell to the public, and if they do bring it back, it's going to be about a year.
Oh, geez. Well,
so maybe we'll do it again.
It was really good. Building up some anticipation for it is probably really good. We're going to have a couple of guests come in today. So there's a new, I don't know what you call, I guess market, Oakwood Public Market, new business here in town, located over there by Headwaters. And we weren't sure exactly what it was. We went over there yesterday. What a cool concept. And it's it looks like multiple little stores kind of in one place, but I think it's all one business. But Alexis Gallivan and Casey Gage of the Oakwood Public Market are going to come in and join us in a little bit. And we're going to hear all about what they're doing over there. Very, very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I am really sorry about our audio on Instagram Live.
We'll get it figured out.
We shall see. So we want to thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we could not do what we do, for sure.
That is true.
And speaking of, Deep Eddy Vodka.
Where good decisions take a brief vacation and great stories clock in for overtime. It's the place vodka goes to feel famous and visitors go to feel fun.
How about the good folks at Jovi Belterra?
Where 55-plus living feels more like early retirement from everyone else's nonsense. It's the kind of place where your social calendar gets busier just when you thought you were slowing down.
And South Star Bank.
Proof that banking and loans don't have to feel like dental work without anesthesia. They have your back and know how to make your money work for you.
And Mallett Integrity Team. Ooh, we had some yummy lunch yesterday.
We sure did. Capitol Grill downtown. Was that on 4th Street? That was really good. Courtesy of Texas National Title, Donna Lafitte and Claire from over there. Mallett Integrity Team turning for sale into, well, that was easier than we expected. One deal at a time. If real estate had a fast lane, we'd already be halfway to closing before everyone else found their blinker. I'm having more fun with these. I think they're getting a little wordy, but it's more fun every time I do it.
They are. I'm going to let you do your story first.
Okay.
Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn Instagram off, and then I'm going to turn it back on while you're doing your story.
Well, my story is, I've got two, and we always say this, we're not a real estate podcast, how boring. But I do have a couple of real estate-oriented stories that I'm talking about. The first was following up on this NAR, National Association of Realtors lawsuit from a couple years ago, where NAR got sued by a group of attorneys saying that there was some collusion and prices were, commissions were too high. Well, there was a big uproar in the industry. All kinds of things changed. Brokers came out with all these new policies. And the result of this, the lawsuit, was that agent commissions should come down. Well, in the third quarter of 2023, buyer's agent commissions were 2.36% on average across the country. In Q3 2025, they're up 2.42%. So the result of all this stuff with the lawsuit, with all this, the talk about how we were a monopoly and we were overpricing, overcharging people, commissions have not even gone down even a little bit. In fact, they've gone up.
It actually just made it more confusing on my side for the paperwork.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people have said, can't we just go back to the old way of doing it, when we're talking to them? But and the second thing is, one of the things that's going on with home sales is that new home sales, those builders that have inventory on the ground, and we have quite a few new homes for sale here in Dripping Springs, those builders are offering incentives, which include cheap mortgages to allow people to buy their homes. And
my daughter,
I know, I was going to say, Kendall has been sort of sucked into this trap. Well, it turns out there's two things happening with this. One is these people are buying homes, they're qualifying at this cheaper rate, they're buying these homes, not realizing that in a couple years their mortgage rates the interest rate will increase, and the mortgage payment will go up dramatically. And they're not ready for that. A lot of people are thinking that they're going to refi, and of course rates have not come down. It's really hard for me to talk when you're not sitting in front of me.
I'm listening to you.
I know you are. And so, what was Kendall's mortgage rate? Went up like 20%, right? Or mortgage payment?
Yeah, it was one of those three, what was it, like 3, 2, 1 buy downs, or
right.
I can't remember.
But her payment went, you don't have to tell us the numbers, but it went up
$4,800 is
what was it when it started then?
It was like $3,200, something
went
like
up
that.
25%, basically. Yeah. So that's the problem with these rates that allow buyers to get into these homes. There's I saw that Lennar Mortgage and D.R. Horton, which are offering a lot of these mortgage buy downs. Lennar Mortgage, 28,300 people that got loans through Lennar Mortgage are underwater right now, meaning they owe more on their house than they're worth. From D.R. Horton's, 55,000 people owe more on their home than it's worth now because they got into these cheap mortgages.
And there's no other option unless you're coming with money at closing.
Yeah, well, the gist of this story was, don't take those, negotiate down on the price. But what's happening is the builders don't want to drop the price.
Yes.
It's cheaper for them to give $20,000 into concessions than it is to drop the price $40,000. Well, the second thing that's happening with that is home prices aren't coming down enough because these builders are propping up their prices with cheap mortgages, when really what we need to have a real correction on these prices is that house that's listed at $450 really needs to be listed at $390, and there's the correction. And then you go get your 6.5% mortgage, and it's a 30-year fixed, and you know what your payment's going to be with the exception of the taxes. But you know what your payment's going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now if you stay that long.
This almost sounds very familiar to what happened in 2007, 2008, the subprime lending. And this is almost similar to this, but it's just repackaged in a different way.
The difference is those were people that probably should have continued to be renters. Maybe, you could probably maybe argue some of these people should rent for a little bit longer too, but they go, oh, we can get a 1% interest rate for the first year, and their payments, whatever, $2,100. Well, guess what? In year 5 or year 3, it's $2,000 or $3,800.
Yeah, the attraction to Kendall and her husband were that interest rates were so high at that point, and so they were like, okay, we can get into this neighborhood.
Remember what everybody was saying, date the rate, meaning, you just buy the house you love and then pay the higher interest rate because rates are going to come down and everybody will refi and everything will be happy, and none of that happened.
Date the rate, marry the house.
Yep, which has been divorce the rate, I guess is what you should be coming up with right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, coming here in Dripping Springs, let me tell you, Dripping Springs is an amazing, amazing community. And I met with a couple last night who moved here from out of the country, as a matter of fact. And they just find Dripping Springs magical. And there is something magical to continue to be about here. And, we had our big football game that we had last week. Unfortunately, the Tigers lost to Vandergrift, even though they beat them the very first game that they played. It was 41-14, the first game of the season. But Tigers lost by 1 touchdown, 27-20. I know that the football team had a lot of, things against them. The poor kids, they had the flu. There were some botched calls, apparently. I saw Peggy Hippolito at Christmas on Mercer, and she told me that Anthony had to leave in a hurry because they didn't have an announcer, so he had to go announce the game. He had to drive to San Antonio. It was the Class 6A Division II playoff game, but the Tigers were the 12th ranked. They played their hearts out. They really did. Yeah. I loved watching my son play football. It was one of the most fun things I had, him playing football and watching him wrestle. And but congratulations to the Tiger football team on just such an amazing season. But you know what? That is not the only thing that happens in DSISD, because the Tiger Band also, they achieved the highest finish in the program's history. They are the 2025, they participated in the 2025 Bands of America Grand National Championship. They placed 9th overall. They also placed 11th in the UIL 6A marching contest. It was making it the first appearance in 6A state finals since competing at the 6A level, which that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for those guys. I know we have a friend, Ashley, her son is a freshman, and she said it's like drinking from a water hose. I know your son was in band.
Yeah, Colton was in it, and man, it is a serious program. I think they went to state a couple times while Colton was in the band, and it's hardcore.
I think, were we 4A or 5A at that time?
I think we were, I don't know.
I think we were 4A maybe. And then also, the Dripping Springs High School Best Robotics Team advanced to the UIL State Championship.
That's cool.
I remember when that program first started years ago, which is really cool. And then a friend of the podcast, Mary Jane Hetrick.
Yeah.
She was just voted as, she's also Dripping Springs ISD Board Vice President. She was just named TASB's president-elect, which is the Texas Association of School Boards.
Wow.
And TASB is a member of, led by 6 officers and a board of directors made up of school board trustees from districts in every, all around Texas.
Yeah.
And so this is her 4th term on the DSISD Board of Trustees. She's currently serving as a 3rd year as vice president, following 2 years as president. And she is a 2017 Leadership TASB graduate and master trustee.
And one of the smartest people I know.
She is amazing.
She's so smart.
She's super active in Dripping Springs. She served on the Ed Foundation as president of Foster Village Board. She's co-founder and vice president of Patriots Hall in Dripping Springs. She has so many accolades under her belt. And then we love her son, Mitch, too. He helped us out with the podcast
and Mary Jane's
as well.
been on the podcast.
Yes.
Episode 100.
Very early on, she believed in us when Steve didn't have his radio voice.
I've been working on it for 207 episodes.
That's right.
Well, I have a story that I struggled with this one. There's a trend going on that is a little bit disturbing. Celebrities are making smoking cool again. And, well, it's kind of, cigarette smoking is one of the most dangerous things you can do to your body that's legal. Well, kids are smoking, and that's not legal. But
I actually heard that cigarette smoking, okay, they're both evil, but is not as bad as vaping.
So here's the thing about this. Vaping now is considered cringy. It's if you're a vapor, that's considered sort of, you're like a lowlife. It's not, it's true. And you think about it, like all the TV shows, they show everybody that's vaping generally is like some scumbag, right? They're sitting there in their whatever, in their living room playing video games.
In their underoos?
Yeah, in their underoos. So there's a couple pop stars. Addison Rae, do you know who Addison Rae is?
No.
One of her songs was "Need a Cigarette to Make Me Feel Better," and then Lords has a song that says, "This is the best cigarette of my life." So these are singers singing about smoking, and then I'm sure you've watched Landman.
No.
You're missing out. Billy Bob Thornton smokes like a freaking factory on that.
Billy Bob Thornton is always smoked, but you know what gets me is the smell.
Well, and when you smoke cigarettes, you don't know that you stink like an ashtray. You just don't know. Your nose doesn't work anymore. Beth from Yellowstone.
Yes.
Just like chain smoker.
So you're just basically saying train wreck ratchet people are still smoking.
But there's in the movies, these people are considered kind of cool. Like Billy Bob Thornton in Landman, Tommy he's the main character, and like him or hate him, he's the cool guy on the show.
But then if I see somebody smoking, they smell. You can be bad, you can be cute and pretty, but you're like.
Kids don't think about that, and so there is a trend, and the CDC's come out and said that smoking in movies and TV contributes to an overuse in smoking rates and an increase in smoking rates in young people.
That's interesting.
So and I mentioned it. Cigarette smoking is replacing vaping, and smoking's more deadly than just about anything that a kid can do. It's even more deadly than drinking, and it can have a long-lasting effect. Remember when you were in school and you're like, if you smoke for a couple years and then stop smoking, your body rebuilds itself. I think that's just BS. I think if you smoke for a couple years, you're going to live with that the rest of your life. I think your body will repair itself some, but I don't think you're ever going to get back to where you were before you started smoking.
I happen to agree because my best friend Kim, she was a long-time smoker, but she was a casual smoker. She doesn't smoke all the time. She was a casual smoker, and she died of lung cancer.
People that smoke for long periods of time, they almost always die, what you would say early, because of some cancer or heart disease or lung disease, something that happens that's caused by smoking.
But you remember in high school, like I don't know if you guys had it at your high school, but we had a smoking wing.
We had a smoking area out back behind the school. Yeah, you could go out there and smoke. I know, isn't that crazy?
That is nuts to think about that.
Yeah, the one thing I was thinking about though, it's illegal for cigarette companies to advertise now.
Yes.
I bet if you dig far enough, you'll find out that part of this trend is the cigarette companies figuring out how to be prominent again.
Oh, so going in the movies like product placement.
Or you do a little side deal with an actor and say, hey, your character's a little gritty there. We want to make sure that you're smoking, and then the actor goes on set and goes, look, to fix my part, man, I need to smoke a cigarette. And the director's like, okay. And then there you go. And then kids are smoking again. So anyway, it's something to be aware of. I wouldn't want to be a parent right now trying to figure out all the stuff your kids could get into.
No. Being a parent right now, God bless you people.
I am still a parent.
You are a parent, yes.
But my kids are grown and they're in charge of their own life now.
Of minor children. I'm actually reading this book. It leads to my next story. It's called The Anxious Generation. And it's basically... It focuses on Gen Z, and it talks about the social media immersion, less play-based, more phone-based, overprotection due to safety fears, how we were all so afraid you're going to get kidnapped or whatever, and then this underprotection online. It created this whole rise in anxiety, depression, self-harm, loneliness, but especially in girls, because there was a lot of appearance-based things. But one of the things that they recommend is no smartphones before 16 or no social media before 16, phone-free schools, which DSISD in the state of Texas is doing, free play, outdoor time, screen-free, risk-taking, which I thought was great. Like, go out there, go climb the monkey bars and see what happens. Yeah. Personal responsibility, taking personal responsibility for your own actions and not blaming it on somebody's triggers or how you're affecting me.
There's so many people dealing with mental problems because they look at everything that happens around them as a fault on them and not just the way the world works. And you have to learn to roll with some of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not exclusive to young people. So as people get older, people also lose their contacts with either family or friends. And there's this whole trend on TikTok right now. It's a bunch of senior citizens. It's like 80
I've seen
and
this,
above. There's a place in the Bronx called River Spring Living, and they have a TikTok channel, I guess, and they already have over 2 million followers across it, and it's just so stinking cute. There's another one in UK, I think it's called the Old Friends Club, and these seniors, they play games, they comment on pop culture, they do these little TikTok dances like with their walkers and stuff, and it's just so cute. There was this one lady, she lost her husband at 55 years, and she also had to have her leg amputated, and she said that seeing me here has helped me, because now they know, other people know kind of what will happen, but they also know if they have to end up living in a place like this, that it'll be all right. And the purpose is to just keep living.
Oh boy, that's huge. I didn't think about that. That you're not going to just go there and get parked until you pass away. You can actually have a life and impact some people. The one I saw that was the one that made the biggest impact on me was this man, and he was 90 years old, and the person interviewing him said, if you could go back in time and relive one moment, what would it be? And he said, I would want to go back and dance with my wife for the first time again. I thought, how sweet is that? You know, how cool is that? What a memory.
Well, it just gives other people that are involved in these assisted living and nursing home, these activity directors ideas, which I think is great. I have a friend, her name is Christine, and she's an activity director, and I like to see some of the things that they do, and they dress them up for Halloween.
The person that came up with that for these folks, genius, and kudos to them for keeping these people engaged and not just sitting there doing jigsaw puzzles all day and rotting away. They're actually contributing to people's good mental health.
Well, one of them said, oh God, did I get this old? I like myself, and if I like myself, I'm going to like me. But it's so stinking cute. I implore you to go look up a video.
Do you know what the TikTok or the Instagram is?
It's called, well, if you look up Old Friends Club, there's like a whole bunch of different ones. Here's a quote from somebody. He's 105 years old. And he said, I've always looked at birth as the beginning of a disease. You're born, you die, you know the outcome. It's how you play the game in the middle. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to die saying, I wish I had. And he's the oldest of the club at 105, and said, oh, I'm sorry, it's a female. She said her goal for her golden years was to have fun. And that's me.
You know,
I like that.
Yeah, I love that these folks that are up there in age are still looking forward to what they can do in their life, not just looking back on the past and saying, that's what I was. Now they're still thinking, what am I going to be? You know, she's 105 and she's talking about, what am I going to do to be happy going forward?
They asked her what the secret to living that long is, and she said she kept a lot of her secrets close to her chest. But she said, for a life fulfilled, one should sparkle like a diamond, shine like a star, show a radiant spirit wherever you are. Like, that sounds like somebody I would love to meet.
Yeah, me too. Well, we're going to take a little break and get Alexis Gallivan and Casey Gage of Oakwood Public Market in here. So hang on, sit tight. We're going to take a little break.